Hey everyone! Last time, Moros revealed Cassian's new power level after ingesting a magical stone. Hold on to your seats for today's video, where the excitement continues to soar. Get ready for an amazing turn in Cassian's journey. Let's dive in. While Moros is sharing the amazing powers of the crystal, Cassian notices a new skill called Magic Stone Extraction added to his stat window. Perplexed about its nature, he asks Moros for guidance on its usage. Moros clarifies that this skill enables him to extract magic stones from magically imbued weapons. Upon hearing this, Cassian feels a bit let down, expressing that the skill isn't as impressive as he had hoped. Shocked by his reaction, Moros emphasizes that this skill is extremely rare, and he's likely the only one possessing it. However, Cassian, appearing preoccupied, points out that having such an ability is useless if one doesn't know where to find magic-infused weapons. Meanwhile, Daewon Lee sits in a cozy cafe, a wide grin on his face as he proudly shows his newly purchased magical sword to Kim Woo-chan. He feels overjoyed to have finally obtained it. However, Kim Woo-chan, not particularly interested in weapons, simply nods and comments that it seems okay. This response disappoints Daewon Lee, who asserts that it's no ordinary weapon, but one imbued with two of the highest quality magic crystals. Shifting the conversation, Kim Woo-chan brings up the mall incident, inquiring about any progress in identifying Blaster's killer. Daewon Lee, irritated by the sudden change, starts munching on donuts, admitting he hasn't discovered any leads on the culprit in the database. Upon hearing this, Kim Woo-chan inquires about the possibility of the person in question being an unregistered psyker. However, Daewon Lee disagrees, stating that there is no doubt about him being a villain. Nevertheless, Daewon Lee redirects their focus to the serial killer who has been making headlines in the district. Kim Woo-chan interjects, suggesting that the killer is likely to be Driver since he is the prime suspect. Daewon Lee disagrees with the accusation, firmly asserting that Driver is not the culprit. This declaration leaves Kim Woo-chan puzzled, prompting him to inquire about Daewon Lee's certainty. Daewon Lee clarifies that Driver is a villain deeply engrossed in technology and machinery, making it improbable for him to be involved in such a crime. Nevertheless, Kim Woo-chan rebuts, arguing that as a villain, Driver is capable of any malevolent deed, cautioning against underestimating his capabilities. After a brief pause, Daewon Lee adds a new point to the conversation, suggesting that the person responsible for the crime doesn't always have to be portrayed as a villain. They could simply be an ordinary individual. This prompts Kim Woo-chan to recall Cassian, a villain who assisted hostages in a mall. Meanwhile, in a studio, Naan Kim, Kim Woo-chan's sister, and a young high school student, winds up a shooting session with her friend and prepares to leave. As she stands on the footpath, waiting for the bus, she checks her phone and is shocked to see that it's already 7 o'clock, the curfew time set by her brother for her safety due to recent murders in the district. While she ponders going back as soon as she can, her friend Min Yong-eun appears behind her and stands by her side. Turning to her, Naan becomes surprised to see her there at such a late hour, and walks over to ask why she's out so late. Upon seeing her, Min Yong is equally surprised and excitedly grabs her arm, asking her to join her at the arcade. Apologizing, Naan explains her brother has imposed a curfew, restricting her from being out late. Despite Naan's explanation, Min Yong persists, insisting they will return soon. With no other option, Naan reluctantly agrees, emphasizing that they will only stay for one game, to which Min Yong agrees as they start walking towards the arcade. As they walk, a mysterious shadow suddenly appears behind them, followed by someone who seems to be trailing them with a sinister intent. Meanwhile, Cassian sits in his house, expressing his concern about the increasing number of murder cases, causing Moros to ask if he is thinking of considering Driver's offer. Cassian replies that he doesn't care much about Driver, he simply doesn't want the ruthless murderer to roam freely anymore. However, he is of the view that tracking down a murderer who kills people without reason is extremely difficult, especially when the only clue they have is that the killings are occurring in Gadam. Upon hearing this, Moros reminds him of something Driver gave him. This triggers his memory of receiving a smartphone from Driver to stay in touch. Despite Cassian's lack of interest in keeping the phone, Driver assured him it would be useful for receiving information about the killer. He also urged Cassian to apprehend the murderer at all costs, assuring him of the full backing of the villains. With this in mind, Cassian retrieves his phone, contemplating whether to contact Driver. However, in the next moment, he sets the phone aside and exits the room, asserting that collaborating with the villains goes against his pride. Realizing that staying idle at home won't aid him in any manner, he decides to venture out, allowing himself the freedom to think clearly. Meanwhile, in the arcade, Naan and Minyoung are engrossed in their games, oblivious to the fact that the sun has already begun its descent. Sensing the lateness of the hour, Naan urges Minyoung to head back, concerned for their safety being out so late. Despite her concerns, Minyoung persists, wanting to play just a little longer. Unbeknownst to them, a surveillance drone hovers outside the arcade, quietly capturing their every move. Frustrated by Minyoung's persistent disregard for her pleas, Naan expresses her inability to disobey her brother's wishes, declaring that she must leave. Feeling a little sad at that, Minyoung asks if she cannot really accompany her for a little longer, causing Naan to become confused. Looking at her expressions, which seem confused and terrified, Naan asks her if there is a problem. Lowering her head in response, Minyoung reveals that there is something she witnessed. She then discloses the secret of witnessing the murder of the girl, who recently got killed in their school, causing Naan to become shocked. Tears stream down her face as she expresses her fear of being the next target of the killer, causing Naan to ask if the killer saw her. Realizing they have no time to waste, she grabs Minyoung's hand, urging her to accompany her to the police station to report it. With determination, they begin running toward the shop's door. However, before they can reach it, the shop shutters start closing, leaving them shocked and confused. Following that, blood suddenly begins to flow beneath their feet, accompanied by a voice declaring that they have finally met again, causing confusion to overwhelm them. In the next moment, the liquid blood begins to rise into the air, turning their shock into fear as they behold the sight of a terrifying creature known as Bloodrain, a B-rank villain. Meanwhile, Cassian stands on the rooftop, gazing at the city below. Moros interrupts, questioning whether he truly expects to spot the villain just by scanning the area. As they converse, the phone provided by Driver suddenly vibrates, prompting Cassian to retrieve it and discover a notification icon. Intrigued, Cassian opens the notification, only to be startled by the sight of surveillance drone images displaying Minyoung, Naan, and Bloodrain. Meanwhile, inside the shop, Naan and Minyoung stand facing a fearsome villain, unsure of what to do. Suddenly, Naan remembers her brother giving her an emergency pager and instructing her to press it whenever she is in danger. Remembering that, she secretly takes out the pager and presses the button desperately, hoping her brother will receive the signal and rush to the shop as soon as possible. Giving a cruel smile, Bloodrain remarks that both of them look tired and should enjoy the eternal rest bestowed by him. Expressing her frustration in response, Naan makes a remark that he should enjoy it himself if he really likes that idea, causing Bloodrain to become surprised at her guts. Feeling nervous from within, Naan thinks that she really needs to do anything she can in order to buy some time before her brother can come to their aid. Therefore, she turns to Bloodrain asking why he is doing it all, causing him to become surprised, remarking that it is not necessary to have a reason for liking something, a remark that makes him seem creepier in their eyes. Deciding to respond to her question, Bloodrain then expresses how much pleasure and satisfaction he derives from this. With that, he begins to approach them, causing Naan to swing her bag in desperation, warning him to stay away. In an attempt to frighten him off, she mentions her brother, emphasizing his strength and ability to easily defeat someone like him, urging him to leave if he values his life. With a cruel expression, he then summons his powers, mentioning that if this is indeed the case, he would love to witness his brother's reaction upon seeing her lifeless body, drained of all blood, which shocks her. Without hesitation, he attempts to use his powers to strike them, catching Naan off guard as she thinks she's his primary target. However, instead of hitting her, his power strikes Minyoung, sending her crashing to the ground and heightening her shock. Naan swiftly rushes to Minyoung's side, trying to bring her back to consciousness, but she remains motionless. Walking towards her, Bloodrain declares that she is going to be the next target, causing her to turn around with terror in her eyes. Charging his hand with his overwhelming powers once again, he remarks that he is going to make her into a perfect gift for her brother. Losing all hopes of survival, Naan closes her eyes, waiting to be struck by the powers when she suddenly hears the voice of a third person. Opening her eyes in confusion, she finds another villain having broken the shutters of the shop, causing even Bloodrain to become shocked. Running towards him, the villain, who turns out to be Cassian, declares that Bloodrain is going to be the one receiving a gift first. With that, he tries to strike him with a powerful shadow slicer. However, before it can strike him, Bloodrain swiftly leans backward and successfully dodges it. Landing on the ground, Cassian then launches another attack without wasting a second, yet Bloodrain dodges it again. Surprised at Cassian's overwhelming prowess, Bloodrain wonders if the brother Naan was talking about is a villain. Meanwhile, Naan stares at Cassian in disbelief, equally shocked and confused about who he is. Stay tuned for the next episode that holds the exciting answers, promising a ride of twists and surprises that will leave you eagerly awaiting the unraveling saga. Thanks for watching.